The following content has been provided by RWTH Aachen University.
We're now going to get to a quick first touch on feedback. Feedback will continue to come back to us because feedback is one of the key things that an interface provides. Apart from the fact that it provides me, think about the 7 stages of action, it provides me a way to do the things I want to do. It also gives me a way to see the effects of what I did. Right? That's feedback. And so it's a crucial part of what you're designing. What feedback does, it communicates to you as a user a couple things. First thing is, what state is the system in right now? Right? When you pick up your smartphone, you turn on, it will tell you things like, okay, this is the app that's currently running, that's the battery, that level, that's the reception strength, and all these kinds of things. Second thing is, it will tell you the success or failure of actions. Right? If you try to send a text message to somebody, then it will tell you whether that went through, right, with a little progress bar, or in the end it will say text message failed if you don't have any reception. And it also gives you the results of those actions. Right? So if you, send a message, it will be placed in your outbox, in your sent messages folder, so you can see that that's what happened. Good feedback has a couple of qualities. First of all, it should be immediate. So we've all used systems where you do something and then, remember the projector turning on, nothing happens for 30 seconds. That's very annoying, right? We don't know whether our action had any effect, and it immediately puts us, out of balance. We're not sure what's going on. Then, of course, it should be informative and clear. So we should know what the feedback means. That's basically right on the 7 stages of action on the right-hand path up. It's hard to pick the right amount of feedback. If you provide too little, people get lost. If you give too much, the system will be chatty and will be, getting on your nerves and will, disturb you with lots and lots and lots of feedback. And finally, it's got to be prioritized. So if you have a word processor where you enter text, you don't want after every letter that you type a box that comes up and says, you clicked an A, or you typed an A. Click OK. Oh, you typed a B. Click OK. That would be a little much. But it's perfectly fine if every letter appears on the screen as you type it in your text editor. Right? If that doesn't happen and letters are lagging behind as you type, and that actually still happens today, surprisingly enough, then it's immediately sort of confusing. So that's not enough feedback. Okay, so little exercise on one kind of feedback, which is sound. I would like you to think about an everyday object and the acoustic feedback that it provides. You can use an object that's here in class that you've got with you, whatever, or think about one that you typically use every day, maybe. What is there as an auditory feedback? What kind of noise or acoustic feedback do the devices around you that you have with you create? So let's collect a couple examples. Who'd like to start? Yes?
You're dialing a number to phone somebody and you have it on your ear. There's this beeping sounds like toot.
Ah, okay. So the calling, yeah, okay.
No, you were successful in dialing the number. And
The dial tone, right. Yeah, very good example. So that's the system is giving you an acoustic feedback that now the phone on the other end is ringing, right? And that's helpful because it tells you that your call went through, that it's being placed, that you're waiting for the other person to pick up. And you can kind of, tell how long you've been going because every 5 seconds it goes beep beep. So if you've had 6 of those, you've been 30 seconds, and you're like, probably that person's not going to pick up. We use this in many different ways, right? Sometimes people are like, oh, I know he's got this answering machine that picks up after I don't know, the second dial, so I'm going to hang up after the first one or something. Okay, so that's acoustic feedback. That is feedback that is designed by the system, right? So that feedback wouldn't have to be there. It's not physically required, but it's there in order to help you use the system. Especially these days, when of course the dial tone is some digital simulation that you hear. Yeah, good example. Something else, yeah.
The sound of the zipper of the jacket, for example. Or
Uh-huh.
So you don't have to look on the zipper to see that you're doing it correctly.
Right.
Just like by hearing the sound, you know that you're doing it correctly.
Good example. If you take a zipper on a jacket, and well, if you use a zipper on your own jacket, you've got lots of other feedback too, because you feel in your hand whether your zipper gets stuck or not. But if you've got, I don't know, a kid and it's closing up his jacket, and you hear the zipper go like zip, okay, I don't need to worry about that. He closed his jacket, right? So that's where you're using just the auditory feedback. Good example. And that, by the way, is a noise different from the dial tone that wasn't designed to be there as a feedback for the process. It's just there, right? Okay, please.
The sound of a pen when you want to use it.
Yeah, the clicking sound of a pen that tells you that, okay, I now managed to get the lead out to start writing to the pen tip, and it even sounds different from pressing in and pressing out, and it sounds different from when you sort of get the tip out versus retracting it, right? I know everybody's clicking their pens. By the way, again, when you use it on your own pen, you've got lots of other cues. The haptic feedback of the clicking goes together with the audio, and those two channels together give you very, very good feedback. If anything's broken or it gets stuck, you can immediately tell. But even if you hear somebody else going like this, you know that they operated it. Yes.
Yeah, when I close my car door, I hear a clear sound if the door actually closes, but if it didn't close, I can hear that.
Yeah, right. So with car doors, and those are on the edge, right? With the pen, obviously, it's the noise that's just there. You couldn't, it'd be really hard to design a pen that doesn't make that noise with a similar mechanic. But with a car door, yes, the noise of a car door closing is still something that the car door will create anyway. But of course, there's people, at Mercedes that do nothing else but design the sound of the car door, right? The rich car sound, as they say. So that, I'm not kidding you. That's the job description, right? Making car doors sound great when they close. Because we're back to visceral design, right? When you close that door and you've got this great thump, of the car door closing, like, oh, wow, that was like at least 40,000 euro car door sound. So, okay, we got more of those. Yes, would that good?
Yes, I expect cars to make sounds while driving, so when an electrical car appears next to me out of nowhere, I get scared.
That's scary, right? Well, great example, because that's where the original engine, the car, made noise, right? The gas engine makes noise, of course, and that's hard to avoid. In fact, we've all tried to make them quieter usually. But now when you have electric motors that make hardly any sound at all, that's actually a problem. All of a sudden people realize, oh, it's actually a good thing that cars make some noise so I don't get killed as a biker. And then, of course, there are actually, if you go to China, you'll find lots of electric cars, and they will build them with engine noise built in so that they make some kind of noise so that pedestrians and bikers can be aware of them. Okay. So we had all those kinds of examples here. In fact, it's funny, you guys mentioned the car door. That was already on the slide. So those kinds of things are definitely, as a format, a unique channel. Why is sound different, for example, from vision? Because sound is omnidirectional, right? If you click your pen, everybody in the class can hear it, whether they were looking at you or not. That's great if you want to make an announcement. Everybody will hear it in the room. But it can also be highly annoying, right? If somebody has that swooshing noise on their iPhone for every email they send, that will drive you crazy after a while if you're sharing a room with them. But while you use sound, it makes sense to actually convey meaning if it is at all possible, right? To make it so that the sound actually means something. So rather than having some random noise go off as a confirmation, it might make sense to try to create something that actually tells you about the process in a way. We'll talk about sound much more in designing interactive systems too. So this will be a whole lecture on sound, on audio in the user interface.
This content was provided by RWTH Aachen University.